Hello, it's day one of our Faith in Action study together as we look at James and just go through this whole book for a month and just look at what God might be saying to us. And as we've looked at James 1, verses 1 to 4, just those 4 short verses, I just really reminded this morning of a story of when I was in Malaysia a couple of years ago. We went to an orphanage that one of the churches ran. And as we went to this orphanage, I just really felt broken as these kids just wanted to cook for us. And they cooked a meal for us. And then they brought this meal out and they served us. And I just couldn't cope with it. And I really wanted to take the plate back to the kitchen and wash up, which will be a shock to everyone, because that's not the kind of thing I'm really into doing. And I just couldn't cope that these kids that appeared to have nothing wanted to just serve us. And they were really upset that we wanted to help them, and they served us. And then at the end of that, they put on a performance, and it was a performance I'll never forget. It absolutely broke me to see these kids that had nothing just serve with such joy. And right at the outset of what James says in his letter, he says, consider it pure joy when you face trials of all kinds. And you know, it's like, for me, it's like when we face hard times, the last thing I'm thinking about is joy. Maybe I'm taking to Facebook, maybe I want to tell all my friends and moan. And yet James says, when you face trials, not if, but when you do, consider it pure joy. And it's got me to think about, what is joy? What does pure joy look like? And those kids in Malaysia, it's just been going through my head. They appear to have had so little, and yet they've got this incredible joy. And for me, I think one of the reasons that James says, consider it pure joy, is found later on where he says, because you know that your trials can produce perseverance. And I think that's the difference. I think James, when he's talking to these people, what he's saying is now you're a Christian, now you're a believer, now Jesus is in your life, now you're a new creation. Consider it pure joy, because God can do things even with the mess in our lives. Even when a situation seems hopeless, God can do something about it. And it just took me to that hopeless situation, an orphanage where kids are sat there, and I've been through some horrible scenarios and find themselves without any parents. And yet the pure joy, because they have experienced the love and peace and forgiveness of Jesus. And that is the thing that when we consider Jesus, when we consider everything that he's done for us, we get joy. No matter what we face in life, no matter how hard a situation is, when we find Jesus, when we realise what he's done for us, when we realise we're able to have a relationship with God, when we realise that he's even able to use the mess that we find ourselves in for our good, we can consider things pure joy. And I don't know about you, but I just find that really challenging. So whatever you face today, whatever situation you come across, whether it be the most horrible thing, or just something that does your head in a little bit, why don't we just take a minute to know that God can use these trials